there's things that obviously we got to do and could have done this year, but got to make sure it's not in other people's hands and um, you know keep ourselves kind of focused on that next year. Just knowing that the process doesn't always end up how you think it is, how you think it's gonna. So had our banquet tonight with our guys. Haven't had a lot of like one-on-one talks and things like that, but certainly they share the same disappointment. But also looking forward to what lies ahead with our bowl opportunity, and obviously hoping it was going to be more than one game, but we got one more game together and going to make the most of it, whether it's this season, the 2024 team, or just building on it and preparing for the future and being better because of the opportunities we get here in the next couple of weeks.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and take some questions. Charlie, why don't you go ahead and start us off? Just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, hey coach. You mentioned how you haven't had one-on-one conversations with the players, but have you been able to talk to the leaders on your team and have they maybe kind of relayed their message or your message to the rest of the team?
A few, yeah, there are a few. I mean, it's been a busy day. We went from first kind of understanding what the situation was going to be as far as not being in to talking to a few of the guys, still not even knowing what our bowl game was, and then the bowl game, announcement, and then really right into our banquet, and just finished that up here about 45 minutes or so ago. So again, I think just around our program, I feel like the culture's in a good place. The mindset of guys, they've taken a lot of pride in what we've gone through and what we did this year, whether it's just the course we stayed on and to get the way they stuck together. But also, the resume ain't perfect, but there's a lot of big moments in the season and big wins, that we had this year. So again, a lot of there are leaders, and those leaders expressed nothing but positive things as far as moving forward, whether it's guys that are, kind of on the back end of their career, or just guys that are, going to be important for us moving forward. Same roles or even bigger roles. And so, I'm sure there'll be some discussions and things like that. There always is. I would expect that, whether you play in the last game in January or, we just finished a week ago. There's discussions, just guys trying to understand, the role, and doesn't mean it's bad. It means that you just that communication's there. That's how you build trust. And again, I think our players feel good that they can come talk to us, and we encourage that.
Go to Katie Wyndham with Bama Central.
Uh, Obviously, Michigan is a team that this Alabama team is familiar with. Guys that played them last year, you played them last year. Just kind of this matchup, is there maybe a little bit of the revenge factor for the guys that played for you at Washington and then these guys that played Michigan last year?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different pieces to this. I get that and appreciate the question for sure. But I think this again, we've made it always about this team. That's when we've been at our best, is when we really focus on just what it means to this program, this team. We can go back to the Iron Bowl. It wasn't about anything external. It was about this group. And that's what we will certainly keep it to, when it comes to getting ready for, Michigan and the bowl game.
Let's go to Nick Kelly, AL.com.
Hey, Kalen, I realize that you still have the bowl games, one more game, but when you look at this season and preparing for next season, how do you think you'll address maybe improving on consistency and the inconsistency issues you guys had at times in certain games?
Yeah, I think there's different reasons for it throughout the course of the year. It might, and different position groups might have been hit with different things that affected them throughout, that week. It might have been the matchups and some of those things that were greater challenges. It might have been the flow of the game, other things. So a lot of things, you control, and that's what we got to focus on. That's what we'll always focus on. is those that we can control. The things we can't control, or the breaks that don't go your way. We just got to make sure that we're stronger because of what we went through. I think having an off season where there's some consistency, and a longer period of time to be able to just do what I would normally do in an off season, whether it's the details, that you'd be starting in the middle of January or the end of January, where we pretty much hired our whole staff probably the middle of February, and trying to just get them to learn the offense, learn the defensive scheme. So the time frame and the buildup, the ability now after 1 year to just grow the relationships, which builds trust, which leads to greater confidence. I mean, it's just all part of the process. And, we always want to jump from, and we look at, oh, there's talent here, there's talent there. There's a process to this, and we want to skip steps. And you feel like in a lot of places, you can, and I think we did in some areas, but there's some areas too that's just, as agonizing as it is, sometimes you just got to go through those tough times to really know how it can help you in the long run. So, I always kind of learned from a good friend of mine and great coach. You always kind of look at, why is this happening? To me, sometimes you got to look at why is this happening for me? And that's what I shared with the team all season long. I think that really helped them understand that, okay, we got to learn from everything we go through and be better because of it.
Okay, next let's go to Colin Gay with Tuscaloosa News.
Hey, Kalen, I kind of jumping off of what Charlie asked, but after the Oklahoma game, you obviously, were preaching kind of commitment and in kind of a culture of, opt-outs and early, portal entries, draft entries. Is that a message that you continue to push today, like when talking about a bowl game in a CFP world? Is that something that you continue to kind of preach and push?
After the Oklahoma game, we were preaching that, or
Yeah, you were talking about kind of just the emphasizing commitment through whatever was for the rest of your schedule.
Yeah, commitment for the rest of the schedule. To me, it's more about just commitment to that, the sacrifices it takes each and every day to be our best. I don't think it was necessarily, especially at that time, focused on someone we might lose 2 weeks later when, let's say, the portal opens or anything like that. I don't think it was, really directed towards that. It was towards the day-to-day, work that it takes in the process, that we focus on that made us successful, is making sure that was the case, getting ready for the Iron Bowl, that was the next week.
Tony Tsoukalos with Tide Illustrated.
Yeah, Kalen, I'll ask you another kind of opt-outy question, but is there an opportunity where you have guys that could be first round or early round picks? Do you almost encourage those guys to maybe take care of themselves? And does this opportunity give you maybe the opportunity to see some of the younger players? And are you kind of excited about that?
Yeah, you're always, I don't know if it's gonna be because of opt-outs though. I think from what I feel right now, and I'm not saying there won't be one, but I feel like right now we're in a place where most of those guys are planning on playing. I don't care what round they're planning on going in, and we'll see. But that's my early just understanding, having talked with a few guys, and these guys are committed to this place, and there's been a streak of 10 game seasons or more, or 10 win seasons. And, they got a lot of pride in this program and want to continue to move it forward, and, want to play and spend one more game with their brothers here on this football team. So, I think, we're in a good spot. There'll be some things, I'm sure, with some guys moving on out of the program, as I think maybe some have already announced already that they don't plan on being here. And that's going to be the case, I think, every year. And especially here as we go through really our first full cycle where we're working together with them as well. So last year we were really just in full retention mode. There was no portal for us to take any guys from, I guess other than programs that lost head coaches, and that's the situation we were in. So, again, we're going to build our program with the freshman class, which I'm really excited about, the signees. We're going to retain and we're going to develop the guys we have here, and fill in the areas that need some numbers, or maybe just need to be a little bit better on the football field on Saturday. So that's a fluid thing, and I feel like, again, communication is where it all starts.
Next, let's go to Mike Rodak with Bama 247.
Just on those receivers entering the portal, what was your message throughout the years? Maybe the opportunities and the targets might not have been there for him.
I think they're aware that, just our style of offense this year, it was all about whatever it took to win. And I'll credit those guys. They did a great job of doing whatever they needed to do to help us win. And we got a lot of unselfish guys. That from year to year is going to change and evolve based on the personnel we have. And, the style is going to be different. It might not just be, your quarterback. It might be, the number of receivers or tight ends. We're going to try to have some guys that fit a little bit of what we envision it being, down the road. But, that's kind of what I really appreciate about our guys is it was all about whatever it took to win, and them taking a backseat to whatever it would take to do that for them individually. And it's just, all those guys did that.
Next, let's go with Chase Goodbread.
Coach, the last time we asked you about Jalen Hale, I think back in the summer, you mentioned that he had an outside chance of coming back before the end of the season. Can you just update his recovery, and is there any chance we could see him in this bowl?
I don't anticipate you seeing him in the bowl, but he's been out there, and we were excited. It must have been about maybe a week or two ago, to see him out there running around and doing some things. Again, not any type of full contact yet at that point, but just was fun to see his body out there running around, and he brings a smile on his face, and I know he was enjoying that moment, getting out there, just working through the process, and progressing along. And so, man, he's been amazing going back to the time he even had his injury, just with his mindset. And I know our guys really respect him for that and appreciate, the grind he's been putting in to come back as quick as he possibly can.
Okay, let's go with Matt Stahl with AL.com.
Yeah, you mentioned you're not expecting that many opt-outs, but even with that, how valuable can the extra bowl practices be for some of the younger guys on the team?
Yeah, I think bowl games, any type of postseason is just always critical. You're just playing more football, and more football helps everyone. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you, moving forward, progressing. When you don't have this time, it can, really, what are you doing? It's a struggle to get better. And so, more meetings, and, again, there'll be some practices where we can dedicate, that to maybe some younger guys and development there, more so than we would if we were, getting ready for a game during the course of the regular season, or even postseason too, if you're in the playoffs. But these are added practices that we will take advantage of.
Okay, let's go to Wyatt Fulton.
Hey, Coach, kind of to piggyback off what Matt said, how do these practices help you get a little bit of a jump start on maybe some position battles that you'll see next season?
I think a lot of our team, there might be a position or two, but with a lot of our team being the same, that, for the most part, that I would expect for the bowl game that's been on the football field. Again, the development, I think, of the guys that maybe aren't playing as much, yes, that can happen, and something you're focused on. But we're trying to maximize the opportunity to go win a football game, on December 31st, and so there'll be a lot of focus on those guys and us finishing this year strong. These guys that are choosing to play this last game, they're doing it to win it, and finish it out the way it's supposed to be done.
Andrea Adelson with ESPN.
I was hoping I could ask you something related to the playoff because Greg, tweeted on social media that he thought he might have to reassess what you all are doing with your non-conference schedule as a result of what happened today. And I'm wondering how you feel like the committee valued your strength of schedule in its evaluation, whether they valued it or not.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the future, that's something that I'll let kind of Greg lead the charge on, and he has a understanding and kind of will figure that out moving forward. But that's not really, I mean, we want to play competitive games. We want to play in the best games, and I understand how it didn't feel like that. It really definitely wasn't rewarded. It felt like with our schedule and the wins we had against teams that were ranked or now ranked or even ranked at the time, because there's I think even like an LSU at the time was ranked and isn't anymore. But we'll have to I'll let Greg and administratively kind of lead the charge and better understand what needs to be done for the future, if anything at all. But I know we got some what would you consider higher profile games against programs that traditionally have been very successful. We want to be a part of that. We want that to happen. That's the exciting thing about college football, is being in as many big games as possible. We don't want to back down to that. We want to be a part of it, and that hopefully will be rewarded down the road.
Okay, we have just these two questions left, so we'll start with Leo and then finish with Trevor. Leo, go ahead.
Coach, you kind of alluded to this a little earlier about how certain positions have been really banged up, like linebacker on defense. But your offensive line, it's been kind of tough to get the same five guys to play. Has that kind of forced you to change your identity a little bit because you can't get those same five guys in?
I think the latter half of the season, it's been a little bit better. And there's always a reasons for different rotations, right? It might be that you got competition battles in some cases, and I'm not just talking about even offensive line, but just in some areas, it's just like, this is a good way with guys building their stamina, their stamina for the course of the game. And then sometimes, like you said, it's injury related. So I felt like our offensive line early in the season certainly was going through a lot of that. I think there's been solid and consistent growth, there. Some matchups are going to be tougher than others. Some, as a whole offensive line, sometimes it's, a defense and just the different things they do to make the run game tougher or, protection, a little more challenging. And so, what you want to do is you want to have, again, an offense that can be balanced, and balanced is, to me, all about the ability to run or pass when that is needed, because the opponent's going to try to take your best stuff away. And so some of that falls on the offensive line, but it also falls on other positions being able to exploit, when possible, or when those things come up to where they're taking this away, you go to that, or vice versa. So we just got to keep growing our entire offense, so that way we can take pressure off of, in particular, like you're talking about, the offensive line, and that continued. I think a lot of it is just execution. It's always better execution, and that just comes with the reps. And I think we got better in a lot of ways, with reps for our whole offense, but our offensive line too.
All right, Trevor, we'll finish up with you.
Jalen Milroe and Tyler Booker were two guys that were named your team MVPs. Specifically for them, have you heard anything from them on if they're interested in playing in this game, and how important is it going to be to have senior leaders like that, older guys, opt into this game to help your culture going forward as you move on into year two?
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's very positive, and I'll let those guys, make their announcements and talk to the team. We'll have a team meeting tomorrow. we'll have opportunities here throughout the week. That meeting was scheduled no matter what the case was. We were going to be working out tomorrow no matter what, and so I'll let those guys talk, but it's positive for those guys. It's positive for others too. So I feel like we're in a good space in what these guys are trying to accomplish, whether it be seniors and the guys who are using up and finishing their eligibility, or guys that are trying to figure out their course of action potential, or related to potentially going to the NFL draft, and some decisions that they're going through right now.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you. Roll Tide.